Now, the rest of the story.
Welcome back. Well, this is the first day, afternoon, whatever you want to call it, of round baling of hay season for 2019. The round baler woke up on the wrong side of the machine shed this spring. Hasn't been terrible, but I fought for the first 8 or 9 bales out of this baler this spring, largely due to my own mistakes last fall. I made those last 80 bales of corn stalks, corn fodder, corn bales. You may have heard them called about 3 different things now. And they were muddy, it was wet, so I had some residue. Well, it's not even residue, it was mud. I had caked on mud in some of the rolls, the belts. I did go through and I took the air hose and I did get the baler for the most part cleaned off, but I'm trying to stay away from pressure washing, hitting this thing with water in any way, shape, or form when you're going to put it away for a long period of time, and putting it away over winter for the season would definitely qualify for that. Rust on these balers can make one heck of a nightmare for you. See, that right there is why, if anybody wonders why I shut the baler off when I go to drop a bale out, it didn't wrap. I'll get right back to you. Alright, well, that was kind of one of my problems I'm having with this baler. I'm getting... Alright, let's start off from the top. First and foremost, the first bale I threw out, I think the baler did it just to throw me off, because I like starting with corn, getting the corn planter going for the first few passes of the year. You got to go through and make sure everything is working right. So I made my first bale, it wrapped it, it made it nice, perfect, beautiful, even and all that. Well, I figured, went through and checked everything, the baler's fine. So I went through, made my second bale, and that's when things started to unravel on me. It only wrapped half the bale, maybe a third of the bale, and the next 6 or 7 bales after that were kind of a nightmare. Turns out, and it's the third time I've had to fix it, is that the rails underneath the belts in the back of underneath the end gate, where the net wrap runs between the rails and the belt, well, those rails, stemming from last fall, I'm sure, from making those heavy round bales, those heavy fodder bales, what it had done is it actually just ever so slightly bent my back bar that keeps tension across those rails, that keeps the rails tight against the belt, so the net wrap feeds consistently into the baler. That was giving me issues. It was bent. So we ended up taking that off. It was maybe a 10-15 minute fix. Wasn't bad at all, just tedious for the little bit of time it took to pull the 2 bolts out and the pins. After that, it ran all right, but the problem is, I don't know if I have an electrical issue, if I need to check my batteries, because see, now it's just going full, just being dumb right now. It just gave me an alarm, the gate's open, but it says it's fine now. I checked my gate sensors to make sure that they weren't off, because that was an issue on our 535. One of the sensors went bad, but I'm kind of leaning towards if there might be a little bit of a power issue. I need to check the ground on the batteries, because one of the issues I've had with this baler that I never had with that 535 was the fact that the in-cab power outlet that you can plug the monitor into does not supply enough. Well, the wires aren't heavy enough. So what happens is that for the first 15-20 bales that you make, it runs just fine, but then the wires start to get hot and you definitely can feel it. And then your net wrap does not want to cut. The actuator requires a very particular amount of voltage to work properly. And that took us about half the first crop 2 years ago to figure out. So I ended up having to run, got a kit that they provide at the local dealership that I'm running power directly from the batteries up, and it connects right here, right in the window seal. So, which the in-cab power source is right here, and that is actually running my Halo View wireless camera. Yep, I'm still running it. It works great. I still want to go ahead and get another one for the gravity box, because I still expect, we are still planning on, I don't know if I can get Dad's attention or not. Nope, he's turning away from me. Got a big wad of hay there, I want him to move. That pile of hay, can you spread it out? Yeah, I know, I didn't have to actually say it out loud, but oh well, I think you got the memo. This stuff is actually doing pretty good now that we're out here doing this grass. I'm just about done. We are going to have right at 30 bales, which for what I cut, that is literally on the bottom end of what I was figuring we would have. I was figuring anywhere from 30 to 45, so it's within reason, but the alfalfa over at home, that just fell apart. That was 5 acres, and it got rained on. It got washed. It got washed in the field 3 times in that 12-hour time frame, and it just fell apart. So it still made a few bales, but I know it could have added up better than what it did. So the grass is actually carrying us right now. This stuff is yielding really well. Say we're out here at Ryan's, and how many did we get? 20? I think we're sitting right around 20. At least we'll have 20 by the time I'm done. And this stuff is growing back really well. It's been cut for 6 days. It'll be a week tomorrow since I cut it. And this stuff is coming back really nice. I wish we would have cut it, been able to cut it. It wasn't our fault. Been able to make it a couple days ago, so we weren't running over all this new growth. But it cannot be helped. I think you guys can see Rocket running around out there. I had Calvin riding with me, but he gassed me, so he got delegated back to the farm. That's one big risk you take with having the dogs with you. They stink you out if you're not careful. Yes, we are using the JCB. Dad is using the JCB. Still haven't fixed the Bobcat. The goal is to talk to the dealer, the parts guys, whoever, tomorrow, and try to get at least the parts coming for that. It's such a simple, odd little part. I mean, it really doesn't seem like it should be something that'll be too hard to get. I mean, it's something that honestly you think they would have, but what it is and everything else like that, and how much part accessibility they have as far as the parts counter, it's really off of the parts they keep around is really based off of how much of a specific part they go through in a given year. So We've picked up stuff before for equipment that the guys said it was there when they started, and I've worked here for 5 years and it hasn't moved since, and it's got the dust on it to show it. So this actually turned out to be some pretty good stuff. The grass, not the hay. The hay is first crop. The new seeding that we put in, Dad's is doing a lot better than Ryan's, but that is to be expected because it was also put in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks before Ryan's. So the new seeding, Dad's at least, that probably won't get cut until sometime in July. And same thing with Ryan's, that's probably going to be closer to the end of July, 1st of August. And best case scenario right now is that we let it go, let the new seeding grow up, and then we get one decent cutting off of it, probably right around the 1st September. I'm not for certain about any of that. It really depends on the weather. The crops look terrible right now, but it's not just us, it's just the stage that they're on, that it's on. I wish the corn and the soybeans both look better. Our soybeans look like crud. I attribute a large amount of that to the fact that it was wet, cold, the germination was terrible, plus I kicked myself in the foot for dropping the population down in the soybeans like I did for the conditions I was planting them into. If I could go back and redo it, I'm not talking replant, just if I could go back and redo planting it for the first time, I would have left the population at 140,000 seeds to the acre. That has been a really reliable number for us to plant in the past. I dropped it down to 120,000 seeds per acre this year. In a regular growing season where my head wasn't running at 1,000 miles an hour the whole time that we were trying to plant, I think I would have made a better decision on that and would have left the populations where we usually left them. Because the problem is with the soybeans, as far as the emergence goes, I honestly believe if we would have left the population up higher than what we did, it would have done a better job of emerging out of the ground better. Because when you plant those seeds at a higher population, they are closer together. When they're closer together, it's called a group effort. And that group effort is they help each other getting through the soil. When it did dry out, they were pushing out a little bit of crust. If they had perfect growing conditions to come up out of the ground, I don't think it would have been such an issue. But yeah, I'm not a fan of soybeans. They're frustrating to grow. They pretty much do what they want, when they want, how they want. Which, it is what it is. It's nothing we didn't know about them. And same thing with the corn. I don't think anybody really knows that, or any of my viewers. I did drag the cultivator across the ground last night. I don't think I've told anybody, but our Dad, obviously, he came out and was just seeing what I was up to. All I did was drag it across one of Dad's strips over at the farm, just down and back. Strip was getting kind of weedy, or weeds were starting to come up in a spot of the field that is historically known for having weeds in it. So really not quite ready to start cultivating just yet. They are talking like they want to go through and top dress, spread urea on all of our ground that is going to be cultivated. Well, I was just planning on cultivating my ground. I will do some of Dad's ground, or as much of Dad's ground as I can. The window to cultivate is going to close really quick. I'm thinking this upcoming week, depending on the weather and how the crops really look going forward, I may start cultivating, side dressing, culti dressing. I don't know if that's a good term to use or not. I kind of like it, culti dressing. And go through and maybe start getting some of this earlier stuff I got planted done. The stuff at home, across the road from home, that will be the first stuff I do. And then the problem is the next stuff of mine is the furthest stuff away from home, and that is a 15-mile drive with the 40/20. And the 40/20 only goes, well, depending on how hurried you are, it seems like it goes at the speed of smell at times, but from the smaller tires and everything it has on it, it's just I think she only goes like 17-18 miles an hour. It's a 45-minute drive to get out there, and with the cultivator on it and the traffic, it's a trip that you're glad you only have to make once or twice a year. So yeehaw. Alright, I'm gonna end this because I'm done. I get to the other end here, I'm gonna pull the plug. So you guys are watching the rest of the story. If you guys have any more questions or concerns or anything else like that, or if you're just wondering what's up, just let me know. Comment down below. Email. I try to get back to the emails as best I can, but it is what it is. So, well, until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. Talk to you then.